WWE changed the landscape of wrestling when they came up with the idea of the brand split in 2002. The company was struggling without their competition of WCW, as viewers were starting to tune out slowing down the massive momentum from the prior few years. Steve Austin's heel turn and the failure of the Invasion story made WWE realise that a fundamental change was needed to add excitement again to the product. The brand split started with Ric Flair running Monday Night Raw and Vince McMahon in charge of SmackDown. Both men took part in a draft that led to nearly every talent having to remain exclusive to one of the shows. There were many details to the storyline that set this up and how things changed on the fly. Welcome to Honor Wrestling Club, and here are the 10 reasons why the WWE draft was initially introduced back in 2002. Welcome to the club. In number 10, we have that it was inspired from the plan of continuing WCW. The purchase of WCW by WWE changed everything about the industry forever. The original plan was for WCW to continue on its own, having a weekly show on Mondays with WWE continuing with SmackDown as their weekly content. Vince McMahon bailed on WCW continuing during the failed Invasion storyline, owing mostly down to the abysmal match between Booker T and Buff Bagwell. The brand split came about a year or so later. Since the concept still held great value, and Raw and SmackDown became separate brands, and this was the easiest way to enact this change he wanted. In number 9, we have Paul Heyman, who aggressively ran SmackDown. Paul Heyman was given the lead creative role for SmackDown in the early stages of the brand split. Vince McMahon wanted his best talent to be placed in the right positions, and Heyman clearly deserved creative input based on his success in ECW, but this time with a proper budget. The moves from Heyman often saw hostility building within the creative team of Raw, as Heyman was aggressive in getting Eddie Guerrero traded to SmackDown. There was even a story shared about Heyman eavesdropping during a Raw conference call to get the scoop on his competition. And then obviously, the SmackDown 6 happened when Paul Heyman just took 6 of his best guys and said, just go out there and fight each other every week, and then fans went, yes, this will do quite nicely. In number 8, we had the pivot to general managers, which was when the concept first began to flop. The original idea of Flair and McMahon competing in the brand split was cancelled after a short while. Flair was doing poorly in the leader of Raw following a horrible program with Stone Cold. Eric Bischoff and Stephanie McMahon would be placed into the roles of general managers for their respective shows. The shock of Bischoff arriving in WWE and the uniqueness of Stephanie McMahon playing a face led to success for their brand splits initially, but it would eventually get a bit tiresome. In number 7, we have Triple H instantly began to dominate Raw. Triple H became the top fixture of Raw once Bischoff took over. The need for a new world title saw Triple H being just handed the old world title by Bischoff. Triple H's infamous reign of terror started here, with him dominating the title picture. Wrestlers such as Rob Van Dam, Booker T and Scott Steiner were sacrificed to make Triple H look stronger instead of using their momentum. Many fans favoured SmackDown over Raw and faulted Triple H for the red brand falling behind. Sticking with positivity on SmackDown's shoulders, because in at number 6 we have the fact that SmackDown was building new stars. The influence of Paul Heyman made it way easier for SmackDown to become a fresher product than Raw. Heyman always focused on building new stars when given a position in power, and this was true from his time in running ECW to his stints on WWE's creative team. SmackDown helped to elevate new stars such as Rey Mysterio, Edge and John Cena in the early years of the brand split, whilst also helping give established names such as Guerrero, Benoit and Angle new leases on life. WWE initially created the split with the intention of building new stars, and the better results came from SmackDown to start things off. In number 5, we have the fact that old WCW titles were brought back. WWE needed to add a few more belts to the product since 2 shows required titles for various divisions. The big gold WCW Championship belt was used on Raw as the world title before it would switch to SmackDown in 2005, and then even more shockingly was the fact that WCW's former United States Championship was brought back in 2003 with a tournament to crown Eddie Guerrero as the man to win it over on SmackDown. WWE is still using the United States Championship all these years later. I emphasise the word champ there because that's what it said in massive letters. In number 4, despite the fact they were introducing new titles, there was only one women's championship, and that was on Raw. The women's division of the brand split saw drastic differences for both Raw and SmackDown. Trish Stratus and Lita got drafted by Raw, and that made that show the standard for women's wrestling by getting the women's championship as an exclusive part of their brand. SmackDown tried to have a women's roster with Tori Wilson leading the way, but they never had a title to compete for in the early stages. Wilson, Dawn Marie, Sable, and a few others were involved in more bikini contests and eye-candy segments than matches without a belt on the line. In number 3, we have that the brand split made it easier to sign former WCW legends. When they purchased WCW, WWE missed out quite a few of their legends. A clause allowed the wrestlers to sit at home, especially the bigger names, as they were on bigger contracts, so they could just sit at home and earn the same money rather than take a pay cut to go and join WWE straight away. The only 2 established main eventers to make the move right away were Booker T and Diamond Dallas Page. The brand split opened the roster for more spots for the names of such as Kevin Nash, Goldberg, and Scott Steiner to provide a bigger impact. They wouldn't, but it provided the opportunity. In number 2, we have the fact that Stone Cold and Triple H remained free agents. Steve Austin was the biggest name not involved in the original 2002 draft to start the brand split. WWE used Austin's free agent status as a major storyline as both Flair and McMahon wanted to sign him. Raw eventually added Austin, with Flair becoming his newest enemy. Triple H was the undisputed champion and didn't get drafted either, since original plans called for the champ to work both brands. The following free agency storyline saw Triple H signing with Raw and Bischoff over his ex-wife, Stephanie McMahon's SmackDown brand. And at number 1, we have the fact that Vince wanted to split up tag teams, and this was thought to be the best way. Vince McMahon has been viewed as not caring about tag team wrestling if he feels he can get 2 single stars out of a great duo. Whilst this sometimes works excellently, most of the time it's dreadful. The 2002 draft saw WWE splitting up all of their top teams from the division at the time. Matt Hardy turned heel when drafted to SmackDown, and Jeff remained a pushed face on Raw. Granted, Matt became V1 Matt Hardy, so it's probably a good move there. The Dudley Boys were livid when they split up for Devon to become Reverend Heel Devon on SmackDown, and Bubba remained on Raw and went to shorts. Even the APA broke up for a short while due to the draft splitting them up. None of the 6 names involved instantly found single success since the teams broke up too early. The Hardys did alright for themselves, but they were the only ones. And there you have it. There are 10 reasons why the draft was introduced all the way back in 2002. So, what do you think? What's your thought on the draft overall? Be sure to let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and click the subscribe button if you are new. That's all for now, so I'd just like to thank you for watching, and welcome to the club. See ya!